I'm Xueli. I'm an international model with albinism. I'm doing this podcast to raise awareness on albinism. In those podcasts, I'm talking with young people with albinism to find out more about their daily lives and the differences between countries. My first conversation is with Lina, who lives in the USA. Hi, Lina. It
Hello.
is nice to meet you. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Lina, and I live in Florida with my family of seven.
Wow. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have four sisters.
Wow, that's a lot. How do you survive in such a big family?
A lot of personal space.
Okay, great. Are you sportive?
Yes, I am. I do dance. I like to work out. I do different genres of dance, so a lot of dance. Dance is actually my biggest sport.
Wow, great. Can you give us a little insight about your daily life? So you do dancing, but are you in school?
I am homeschooled with the rest of my siblings, so for our daily life, since we homeschool, we just go upstairs to our desks and just start school. And then, because I can't see very well, I have a large print textbooks. I have big computer where I can see my screen easily, and a lot of technology that helps me see for my academics. And then for dance, I go to a studio and I have to give the teacher, I don't want to say a list of accommodations, but I just have to tell her, I need you to be in the front and I need you to be able to show me and tell me what you're doing so I can follow.
Okay. May I ask why you are homeschooled?
I am homeschooled because it's very convenient for a big family. Everyone can work together and do school, and there are different levels. And that's just how it's always really been for us.
What's your favorite subject in school?
Um, I like literature. Literature is fun.
What kind of literature?
I like reading. I say reading, but I really listen to audiobooks. But I like listening to the audiobooks and then writing reports about it, and just doing that to me is fun because I get to read and write at the same time.
So my hobby is also eating. Do you like that as well?
I do. I love eating.
What kind of food?
Um, I like eating a lot of soup. I love Asian food. My mom makes amazing Asian food and I love it.
Oh, really? That's very funny. Do you like dumplings or bao, like little bread, Chinese bread?
I do like dumplings. Those are really good. Yeah.
Wow, wow, we could be family. So, how does your albinism, affect your daily life?
Well, albinism, it's it's a lack of pigmentation. So bright rooms really bother me. And so in my daily life, I tend to like darker settings. Like I like my room to be darker. I have darker screens. I have a really dark desk. So that makes it easier to see for me. And like I said before, I have a lot of large print. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, which helps me with my albinism.
Mhm. When or how did you discover that you are different? And do you feel yourself being different than the rest?
I I guess I've always known I was different, but it never really affected me until I was in middle school. I never really cared when I was younger. I just knew I was different and I was fine with it. But it started affecting me when I got into middle school and high school. And now I've accepted it. I like being different.
You do not look very Chinese because people are saying like Chinese persons have black hair, a darker skin. Do you feel that you are Chinese or more American?
I feel I'm very Chinese, despite what others say. I I try to keep that bond with my heritage, even though I live in America. So yes, I'm very in touch with my Chinese
Do
side.
you speak a little Chinese?
No, I don't.
Ah,
I've
okay.
tried. I have tried.
Do you mind being different?
Most days I don't mind, but every once in a while when I encounter someone who wonders and doesn't ask me politely like why I'm different, sometimes I mind, but most days I don't.
But when you are working, for example, with your parents, are they asking your parents that question or you?
They ask my parents a lot. They don't really speak to me. So,
Like that you cannot talk?
yeah, it's quite annoying.
Yeah, yeah. I experienced that as well. I think that's very good to say to all our listeners that persons with albinism have a voice and they can talk, and that you can ask questions. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can ask questions, but just talk to us and not talk to our parents or the friends who are working with us.
Yes, I do agree with that.
So, what do you think of your albinism? What aspect do you think is the most hard to deal with?
I would say just interaction is very hard for me because I cannot see their face very well, or when they wave at me and I don't see it. So they might think that I'm rude or
Mhm.
they might not want to be around me. So trying to make friends is really hard for me with that issue.
Well, you have a friend in the Netherlands now, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
May I ask how poor your eyesight is?
So I have 2200 vision, which means what a normal person can see at 200 feet, I can only see at 20 feet.
Okay, that's very poor.
It is,
Well,
yeah.
we in the Netherlands do it with percent, but yeah, it's also, I think, a little similar with my side. So you have answered the difficulties in daily life, but what is also a good thing about your albinism?
I would say it makes me unique from others. It, oh, it's nice being different. Like I said, most days it's nice, but I like being different. It's I think it's a way for people to be more aware of it as well. I think it's a good way for people to be aware of it, and that's a way I can share that with others through my albinism.
Have you ever searched, because that was what I did when I was little. I always searched for a person who looked like me.
I have a lot, honestly. I have. And in fact, I didn't realize it a couple years ago, but I was looking up people with albinism and I saw you in one of the photos.
Well, now you're not alone anymore. There's a whole alliance of persons with albinism who are standing by your side.
Yeah, nice.
So, next questions. Do you use equipment also outside, for example, a cane?
I do. I use a lot of hats. I use prescription sunglasses.
Mhm.
I use my cane for specific events like when we go to Disney or big places, I use my cane and a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah, me too. It gets sticky over time.
It does, yeah.
Do you also use magnifiers?
I do. I use handheld ones and then I use like the big CCTV magnifier for school.
Okay, that's pretty good. We have talked about that people say silly things to you, but how do you respond?
I think it really depends on who it is, who I'm speaking to. If it is like a friend of mine, I will be more gracious with them and explain to them, I am different, but please don't say that because that's rude or like I don't appreciate that comment.
Mhm.
I would say that around people who I know did not intentionally mean to be mean, but if it's with someone I have no clue about, I will still be gracious, but I will tell them that was rude. Please don't say that to me.
How do they respond to you saying to you like schooling them?
Most of the time, they're very gracious about it and they're very apologetic, but every once in a while, you'll get that person who just does not care.
May I ask, do you get bullied?
No, I do not. That is another reason why I'm homeschooled. So
Hmm.
I get bullied. I don't get bullied, I'm sorry.
Do you sometimes feel left out?
I do a lot, yeah. When my friends go to certain events or they say like, "Look at that," I just I had to giggle and be like, "Okay, I understand they didn't mean it, but I do feel left out."
Okay. Are you trying to join them, or do you just think, oh, I'm just doing my own thing?
I try not to join them because I understand I'm different, and if I tried to join them, it would be a struggle. So, no.
So we have talked a little bit about that you are kind of different, and that you originate from China. You have been adopted, right?
I have, yes, I've been adopted.
Do you feel different compared to US people than Chinese people?
I I do feel different compared to the citizens in the US. Yeah. I think even though I have white hair and light skin, I'm still 100% Chinese.
I don't know if this question is going to be in the podcast, but I'm just wondering. So, people have been very racist to persons of a Chinese background or an Asian background. How do you feel about that? And that you, I mean, like, I think that you are not seen as Chinese than people who look like Chinese, more like Chinese, dark hair and a little bit more color.
Yeah.
So, do you feel sometimes sad that you do not get actually discriminated, and that the persons who look more Chinese that they are getting discriminated?
I don't feel bad that I'm being discriminated against, like, or I'm not being discriminated against. I feel bad for those who are Chinese and were discriminated against.
Mhm.
It's just how they look. It's not their fault.
Do you also get told like being a person with albinism in China is a curse?
I have not heard that because a lot of people don't know about albinism and they don't
Mm.
know the Chinese culture and their reactions toward albinism.
Yeah, I think it's like it's not normal, so you have to put it away. It's like it's not like they think it's cursed, but it's more like a shame that they are shamed. Like, oh, you look so different than the rest.
I think that is their point of view, but yeah.
So I don't know if you are aware of this, but in some countries, people with albinism are discriminated. What do you think we could do about this?
I think we should raise awareness of the fact that having albinism is not a curse, it's not a disease, it's just a mutation in the genes. That's it. It's not our fault. It's just how it works. And I think if we raise awareness of that, it would it would help others to understand more about it. And so when they know more about it, they know I don't need to discriminate against these people.
Have you ever heard of the stories that people with albinism, for example, in Tanzania, Malawi, get mutilated?
I have heard some. I have not heard a lot though.
What do you want to say to those people who try to mutilate people with albinism?
I think that is awful. That is horrific. Just because they look different does not mean you can do that to people.
So just make this clear, being a person with albinism is not another ethnicity. It's that you just have some different color, but you still have, for example, the Chinese ethnicity we both share.
Yes,
right?
I do agree. Yes.
What do you want to do later for your work?
I think I'm going to go into the psychology field for developmental psychology for children.
Okay. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. I want to help others help their kids because since I was adopted, I've had a lot of developmental issues. And so I went to see a lot of psychologists. And
Wow.
I want to be the psychologist who helps others.
Is there anything else you want to share with us?
I would just like to help raise awareness and just say that this isn't a curse. We're very blessed to have this unique look and just raise awareness to others.
Well, I think your message is very beautiful. And thank you for your time. And thank you to all the listeners for your time. If you have any questions, please write a comment in the section down below. Be kind and please respect us.